It's March Madness number 3. I'm doing it. This one is a read something, and the book is Jonathan Strange Mr Norrell by Susanna Clark. This book means a lot to me. First of all, it was the first proper epic story that I ever read, and it got me into all the big fantasy science fiction books. So to start off, that's its tick tick number 1. Number 2, it's the first book I ever was able to read aloud from, and I used it in a speech and drama class, and the teacher actually helped me be able to read aloud. As a dyslexic person, I never thought this was going to happen, so it's very important to me for these 2 reasons, and it makes it a perfect choice for I read you something. The third reason I've decided to do it today is because I found out that they're making Jonathan Strange and Mr Norrell into a TV programme for BBC. So I thought I'd give you guys a little heads up and get you to be able to be there first, and you can be all hipster and say, oh, I read it before, it was cool. Jonathan Strange and Mr Norrell is based in the 1800s. It's in a semi-fictional version of England where magic is real, and basically magic has gone into decline, and Mr Norrell is the first person to do magic in like 100 years, and he teaches Jonathan Strange, and it's all about their butting heads and their disagreements on the ways in which to use magic, etc. The bit I'm going to read you is the introduction prologue bit. I apologise if I pronounce any of the names wrong, but it's like that with fantasy books. The library at Hertview, autumn 1806 to January 1807. Some years ago, there was in the city of York a society of magicians. They met upon the 3rd Wednesday of every month and read each other long, dull papers upon the history of English magic. They were gentlemen magicians, which is to say they had never harmed anyone by magic, nor ever done anyone the slightest good. In fact, to own the truth, not one of these magicians had ever cast the smallest spell, nor by magic caused one leaf to tremble off a tree, made one mote of dust to alter its course, or changed a single hair upon one's head. But with this minor reservation, they enjoyed the reputation as some of the wisest and most magical gentlemen in Yorkshire. A great magician has said, profession, these practitioners must pound and rack their brains to make the least learning go in, but quarrelling always comes very naturally to them. And the York magicians have proved the truth of this for a number of years. In the autumn of 1806, they received an edition of a gentleman called John Segdus. At the first meeting that he attended, Mr Segdus rose and addressed the society. He began by complimenting the gentlemen upon their distinguished history. He listed the many celebrated magicians and historians that had at one time or another belonged to the York Society. He hinted there had been no small inducement to him coming to York to know of the existence of such a society. Northern magicians, he reminded his audience, had always been better respected than the southern ones. Mr Segdus said that he had studied magic for many years and knew the histories of all the great magicians of long ago. He'd read the new publications upon the subjects and even made a modest contribution to their number. But recently, he'd begun to wonder why the great feats of magic that he'd read about remained on the page of his book and were no longer seen in the street or written about in the newspaper. Mr Segdus wished to know, he said, why modern magicians were unable to work the magic they wrote about. In short, he wished to know why there was no more magic in England. It was a most commonplace question in the world. It was the question which sooner or later every child in the kingdom asked his governess, or his schoolmaster, or his parent. Yet the learned members of the York Society did not like hearing it asked. And the reason was this: they were no more able to answer it than anyone else. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you try and get the book, read the book. It's awesome. That's just a tiny weeny titch of it. And I will see you this time next week.